Okay, so I've got both the top and the bottom pieces in on our upper cabinet. And at this point, before I attach the other side to the bottom and the top boards, using the same exact process we just followed, I want to fit up the backboard first. So the backboard is going to sit in this groove, and I made the length long enough so that it actually sits flush with the sides. It's the same length of the sideboards. Makes it a little easier. Okay, so I'm just going to put this into this groove, and this is just a dry fit up what we're doing right now. Okay, fits nice and snug. I'm going to flush it down here, pushing that equal there. So what we'll do is, before we attach this side, we can actually put a little bead of glue on the back of this board and maybe put some tack brad nails into here to keep it firm. And what this backboard does, besides aesthetically looking, when you open the cabinet door, looks like a complete cabinet, it also adds some squareness and some rigidity to the cabinet. So it is structural. So I'm going to inspect both sides, walk around, make sure it's seated all the way in, and then we'll do a dry fit right now of our side. And I just did this a few minutes ago. I'm walking through it again to show you I picked up something, and I want to share that with you. Great. Okay, so I'm going to firm it up there. Make sure it's flush here, here, and it fits okay. Again, we still have to permanently attach this stuff, but okay, so when I look inside the cabinet, I notice there's an issue. Over here, and on the same upper corner of the top piece, there's daylight. It's not completely seating here, all right? It's seating nice and close here. Over here, there's about 1/8 of an inch gap. So that's telling me this backboard, while the length looks good, it's probably too wide in this dimension by about 1/8, or probably about 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, okay, take my backboard off, and I'm going to run it through the table saw, and I'm going to shave off about 1/8 of an inch in width down the whole length of this board. And that will, the back doesn't need to be completely exact dimensions. It should be as close as you can get it, obviously, but if it has a little bit of slide back and forth, that's fine. And again, we're going to glue it and tap it in place with some nails anyway. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to cut this down, and then we'll add some glue and finish up this cabinet. Okay, so I just got finished putting this together, and a couple observations I wanted to go through, get stuff out of the way, since it's fresh in my mind. Number one, it's always helpful to check for square, so we'll lay this down. Okay, and you measure diagonally from one corner, and I get 40 1/8, and then you do the other corner. and I get 40 and I'm going to say 3/16, so a 1/16 of an inch out of square. That's not bad, that's fine. But I did make one mistake when I was putting this together, and that was actually to nail the back to these boards. That was dumb. And when I do the bottom board, when I do the bottom cabinet, I won't do that. Now would be a good time to nail the back to these top pieces. And you can see actually I have a little longer run here than I do here. Not a big deal. Functionally, everything aesthetically, it'll be fine. But it's because the back kind of compromised this top board already when I had nailed it in. So if I were nailing it in now, it'd be fine. So what I did to alleviate that was just to make sure the bottoms were square. And that's, to me, is having this gap equal across the bottom was more important than having that fixed there. So, you know, just wanted to share that with you. It's important. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. So at this point, our door will actually cover this entire opening. All right, and it'll probably be, it'll cover these two. So you won't, with the door closed, you won't even notice that that's slightly, this piece is slightly off square. This board just needs to come down a touch. I'm not going to do that. This is why this is a course. We're learning this as we go to some extent, some of the finer details of this stuff. So what's left to do for this top cabinet? We'll need to drill holes using a jig for our shelf pins in our shelves. And so we'll do that probably later on. If you wanted to install this cabinet as is, you probably could. The one thing we're going to do next is add our stretchers. And our stretchers are a couple of plywood boards that I've already put pocket screws in them. Grab one here. So this is a stretcher, and we discussed this when we were dimensioning the stuff and putting our parts list together. Just a 3/4 inch thick piece of birch. And what this does, sits right back in here and gets pocketed, screwed into the side here and here. And this gives you meat for the cabinet to hang on the wall. So when we go to hang this in the wall, we want to drill where these screw right through the stretchers. So we don't want to go through here, we want to go through here, and I'll put another one down here. And that gives the cabinet some meat to grab onto the wall and the studs or whatever you go through in the wall. If you didn't have these stretchers in here, you'd be just drilling through this 1/4 inch thick backing board, and it's just not sufficiently strong enough to handle the weight of the cabinet once you putting dishes in here and that sort of thing. So those stretchers are critical. So this upper cabinet will receive two. Okay, one here, one down here. Again, I'll just pocket screw them in. And when we do the bottom board will actually, the bottom cabinet will actually receive two on the top and then two on the back. So it allows you to attach your countertop. It provides some rigidity. So we'll see that when we start building the bottom cabinet. I'm going to kind of skip ahead with the bottom cabinet and not show you what I showed you in the top cabinet, but kind of show it ready to do the stretchers and that sort of thing. So I'm going to add these stretchers and I'm going to put this cabinet to the side, and I will come back with the bottom cabinet mostly assembled.